One feature of most long-running shows is that they have at least one episode for every common holiday. Bonanza gives us a Christmas party in one episode and has an entire episode centered around the jolly holiday a few seasons later. While never explicitly centering around this holiday, one thing they know how to do is give us a little spooky around Halloween. And why not? Michael Landon was born on this celebration of all things jack-o'-lanterns and werewolves, and Virginia City itself is said to be one of the most haunted places in the world. So turn down the lights, sit back, grab a PSL or a hot cider, and let's venture into the autumn mist surrounding some of Bonanza's most supernatural episodes. Note, this isn't a ranking video, so these will be in order that they aired. Number 1. Dark Star. Admittedly, the stereotypes are a smidgen of sage outdated on this one, but we will talk more about that in the episode review. The term gypsy that is used to describe Tirza and her people is often viewed as offensive today. Also, I'll just say that there are times that Bonanza's portrayal of a certain group could use a little work, and this is definitely one of them, at least in Tirza's case. I get that they were going for spooky witch girl here, but yeesh. I will grant that she has the look down. Tirza is outcast by her people because she was born under a certain star, hence the episode's name, and is therefore possessed by the spirit of the devil Asmodeus. Woof. Did you guys just see the lights flicker? Was that just me? Moving on. Asmodeus is said to be one of the kings of hell right under Lucifer himself. Some scholars say he was considered the prince of revenge. That would make sense given what these people did to Tirza. They find out too late that a jealous member of the tribe who Tirza has rejected in favor of Joe is the one pulling some of these tricks to make Tirza think that she's evil. Let's be honest though, he couldn't have done it without the others gaslighting her for her entire life. In the end, Joe doesn't wind up getting the girl, and she is freed of her demons and returns to her people. The real crime in all this is that she calls Joe a tree. She really should have married him. I mean, how often do you meet a man who looks beyond your weird traits? I swear, you tell a guy about your pet spiders one time. Number 2. Darkgate. One of my favorite things that some of the best possession horror stories does is when they make you, the audience, parse out for yourself whether the case was in fact demonic or a case of mental illness. Such is the situation here. Ross Marquette is Adam's best friend of the last 10 years or so. There's been a recent change in him, though, as Adam discovers when he stops by the home that his friend shares with his wife, only to find Ross has beaten Delphine badly and accused her of having an affair with Adam, of all people. After tying Ross up and taking Del to the safety of the Ponderosa, Adam speaks with multiple experts to get at the potential reasons for this, which is more than most ghost hunters do nowadays when they visit a house. I mean, Zach Bagans would never. Adam first speaks with Doc Martin about the possibility of madness, and of course, their treatment of mental illness was severely lacking back then, so he's really no help. Next, Adam speaks to the Reverend, who talks about the idea of possession and how he kind of leans toward the idea. In the end, the show doesn't tell us flat out which it is. That's for us to decide. Number 3. Twilight Town. What's a ghost town without literal ghosts? Joe is robbed and wakes up in a strange town and is being cared for by some nice folks. Too nice, you might say. After a fashion, they admit that they want Joe's help in defeating Felix Matthews and his gang who come by to sack the town every so often. They won't let him leave unless he does something they don't have the courage to do for themselves. Fight. Joe finally agrees to help because he's falling for Louise Corman, one of the women who is of particular interest to Felix Matthews. What I love about this one is that you hear an echo right from the start when the town's leading citizens talk about their situation sans Joe. It's like they step into some other world when the very much alive Joe Cartwright isn't in the scene. They almost seem to move in a mist, too. You might think that's just the old TV quality, until the scene flashes to the Ponderosa where the others are planning a birthday party for Joe and he never shows up. They come after him, of course, and find him unconscious, right where the robber left him. The town is abandoned and has been for years. Ben tells Joe the same story that the townspeople already had, with one caveat. None of them survived it. Leave it to the son of Marie Delville to be able to talk to ghosts. Number 4. Jonah. Hoss befriends lots of different types of folks over his 13 years on Bonanza. One of them is the unfortunate George Whitman, or as he is known by some others in the community, the Jonah. Jonah means jinx, and George is considered to be bad luck because there are a lot of 13s in his life. His mother had 13 children, and he was born on the 13th. He even keeps a hockey mask and a machete in a drawer beside his bed, just in case. Hoss and George go to see a fortune teller because, of course, they do. She tells them that there's a spell that will fix everything. Oh, and if they don't do it right, they're both going to die. She doesn't specify the thing about Native American burial ground being the thing that gets blamed for everything haunted, until after Hoss uses the dirt from one in the spell. A spell, I'm contractually obligated to add, that includes the words Piggly Wiggly. They find out eventually that all of the weird things happening to them are the work of a disgruntled former employee of the Ponderosa who doesn't like George, and they make sure to let the audience know that all things supernatural can be explained away by using your noodle. Except that they end the episode by having Ben get his fortune read and Joe meeting a girl that Madame Teresa Caputo said that he might. So, I guess curses are real? Number 5. Devil on Her Shoulder. Bonanza really has something for everyone, even flat earthers. For the blessedly uninitiated, for some reason there is still a segment of the population, albeit small, who don't want to accept science. Among these are people who think the earth is flat. When a group of them visits Virginia City, Ben falls in love with the only one of them who knows the earth is round. Can you blame him? It's an attractive trait, no? This falls into the category of Bonanza called the Lost episodes, that occurs in later seasons. I'll do a video on that eventually if any of you wants it. Basically, there's something in each of these that was considered controversial at the time when it aired. In the case of this one, Ben falls for a woman who appears to be closer to Adam's age, although Adam has departed for waters unknown by this time. And this is rather frowned upon, unless you happen to be from our current time period. If you know, you know. No one need have panicked, though, because in true Bonanza fashion, this girl leaves the Ponderosa in the end, after nearly getting herself killed going back to her people in order to save as many as she can when they start to die off from sickness that they think is more mystical than medical. The reason why it is on this list is, like Tirza before her, Sarah is considered to be a witch, the difference being that it's her education which gives her the Eye of Newt look. Number 6. The Strange One. Have you ever had a dream or even just a thought of something happening and then it does? If you lived in a certain time in history, that was best left unspoken because you might just be blamed when the thing ends up happening. Such is the case for Marie. Yes, you Joe gals heard that right. Her name is Marie, and yes, she's French. If you're like me, you might be disappointed to know that they don't dive more into those details with Joe's mother, Marie, who thought she was cursed as well. They do mention it, but they don't do enough with it, in my opinion. I do feel like they meant to, though, which I do give them credit for. This Marie mentions that she knows details about Joe's mother that she shouldn't, and even predicts that Joe will be in an accident. She is soon blamed for the death of a child simply because she knew that it would happen before it did. Her own parents have already left her behind until finally her mother decides to come to her whether her father likes it or not. This episode is another example of the usually skeptical Cartwrights seeming to believe by the time the credits roll. On a side note, another episode where they play with the idea of psychics is Second Sight, where another woman with the name Corman has a supernatural gift. She tries to deny it until Jamie is lost in the desert and her predictions help to find him. This has to be the only time a psychic has found a missing child. Okay, I joke on this channel, but whether or not you believe in this phenomenon, you have to admit that if someone really does have this gift, it's going to more likely be the ones who don't use it to make money or get their own TV show. I don't really consider giving this one its own spot only because this episode doesn't have the same spooky feel as the others that I've put on this list. The same goes for episodes like the 2 Rainmaker ones, where it actually does rain in the end. I've talked more about how those 2 are basically the same, but with 2 very different ways that we, the audience, are supposed to feel about them. One more thing that I want to add, I deliberately kept episodes like Miracle Maker and Blessed Are They off of this list because they were going for a more of a feel-good faith aspect with those, and I didn't want to add them to a spooky season video for that reason. I'll probably do another video about these types of miracle endings another time, because I do see enough of a pattern that it would make its own video. One last suggestion that I got for this was Song in the Dark, and I admit that I hadn't originally thought to add it, so I'll go ahead and call it as an honorable mention, because after considering it, I do see where it could fit in. There are a lot of murder mystery episodes with a creepy aspect that will also probably get their own video, and this will definitely be on it. For now, I will say that they really do dial up the creep factor for this one. Adam befriends someone that, to look at him, you'd think he was someone Hoss had taken in. This is explained by Adam telling us briefly that he was wounded once with lots of money. Can't picture that happening to a cart, right? And Danny Morgan had saved him while also having the decency not to rob him. Take that, Tom Wilson. Again, if you know, you know. And if you don't, no worries. We'll get there. Danny is accused of a murder that turns out to have been done by an eerie wannabe preacher. So Danny is innocent, but he's still got his quirks. In fairness to him, Sam Hill talks to horses and never sleeps, but he's such a likable guy that nobody even really notices it. Well, that about covers it. This list was longer than I had thought it would be when I started. This video won the vote against the Ghost Tales of Real Life Virginia City, so that will probably come next year. If you voted for that one and are disappointed, check out the Side-Eye Guy's channel because he actually went to Virginia City and visited some of its allegedly haunted spots. And just a heads up though, he's not a believer in ghosts, but his videos are hilarious.